In today's video, I'm going to share with you how I'm up over 36% for the year and how I'm earning over $100,000 per year in dividends, okay? If you go to my performance value, you'll see that, yes, we're up over 36.5 now percent for the year. We're up 36.5. The Dow's up 3, SP's up 15, NASDAQ's up 32%. So we're beating all of the indexes, and even days gains are strong. But I don't like to look at the numbers, the days amounts. I like to just look at the percentages. 0.61. What was the market up on Friday? Okay, the market beat us on Friday. The Dow was up 0.8. The NASDAQ was up 1%. The SP was also up 1.2. So the indexes beat us on Friday, but we're beating the indexes year to date. We're up 36.5%, okay? That's because I buy a lot of high-yielding dividend funds that are tied to the indexes. So they don't just give you dividends, they give you performance too. All right, Cornerstone's a good example of that. I also use margin, okay? For every $1 you put in your account, you get $4 of purchasing power. So you can do what I'm doing too. Everyone has access to a brokerage account. Everyone can get margin out of a brokerage account. Anyone can choose to buy these funds. Cornerstone's a 4-star fund, pays 21% dividend, drips its dividend at the NAV. I'm not going to get into it, guys, because all my subscribers are very well aware of Cornerstone. If you need help playing Cornerstone or help with playing margin, email me for my e-guides at aikentodd48@gmail.com. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 ways to get more performance out of your account using options. I didn't say anything about options to begin with because I didn't want you to click out of the video. I don't want you to be scared of options. I'm not an options fan either, but I like selling options. I don't like buying options and taking risk that way, but I love selling options, okay? And because margin is my big thing here, and when I sell options, I lower my margin debt, okay? So if I have about $10,000 in premiums I've received here from options, my margin has gone down by $10,000. So that's how I get a lot of my performances on a daily basis, actually. It's from using margin, from using Cornerstone, and also selling options, which I'll share with you 5 benefits on right now. Okay, so the first benefit to selling an option is you lower your cost basis. If you're going to buy a stock, okay, let's say ET right here. ET is a nice pipeline stock, one of the best pipeline stocks in the world. And if you're going to buy a stock, why not sell the option first, okay? If you want to make money, you have to put a lot of money behind the stock. And a stock could fall because it has headline risk. You never know what could happen to a stock. So I like to put all of my money in the indexes like this. See, the indexes up top, Cornerstone, let's say, you know, Apple is a big part of the index. EOS, it's an ETF. I mean, it's a closed-end fund that is an index of tech. So I like to put my dollars into the indexes, all right, not individual stocks like ET. If I'm gonna control a stock, I don't want to own it and have it take up margin and add to my margin. I also don't want the risk, and I have to put a lot of money in it to matter. So I'm gonna just put a small amount of something behind a stock because I don't want the headline risk, and I don't want to actually own the stock because it takes up my margin debt, as I just showed you. So I sell the puts. So an ET, a $15 put, I receive $4 for it. So that made my cost basis 11 because 15 minus 4 is 11. If we go to ET's stock price, you'll see that its actual stock price is $12.70. So the downside is about 10% lower for ET. I own it at 11, and I receive $400 for doing it. And if I do get assigned, which you do want assignment when you sell options, you have to want the assignment, then I'm going to get it at a 9% dividend yield. So I want assignment, okay? I want assignment in every one of these options that I sell. You have to want assignment. That's the trick with selling options. And you don't have to know anything about options. You just have to know that if you wanted to buy the stock anyway, like an ET or even Bitcoin, then you don't have to actually own it outright because there's a lot of risk with owning stock outright. But when you sell the put, you can get this, you can control the same security at a lower cost position. Okay, you saw that ET position, that the market price is around whatever it was, $12. We're at 15 minus 4, we're at $11. Really, we're at 1080, 420. So 15 minus 4 is 11 minus the 20 cents. So we're at 1080 cost basis on ET, and the market price was, again, it was around 12. What was it again? 12.70. So we're getting a big discount just to control this stock, and we're getting $400 to do it. So, and on let's say 15%, what is that? 10% is 15. 150. So on 20% of that would be about 300. So 1500, a $15 stock, 10% on 1500 is 150. 20% would be 300. So we got a little bit over 20% for just selling this put on ET, because $400 is a nice little reward off of $15. Again, $15, 10% on that is 1500. On $1,500, 10% is 150, 20% 300. So we're getting over 20% if we're making $400 on ET. We can go down the line here. IEP, I just did an example on that yesterday. Actually, I even showed you how to sell the put on IEP, like literally walked you through how to sell the put on my last video, CLM versus ADX. Go check out that video if you want to actually learn how to sell the option. It's very easy. Okay, you don't do anything. You just, instead of buying the option, you click sell the option. And so I just diversify my options out into all these sectors to where it's diversified, okay? And I lower my risk because I'm spreading it out amongst all the different asset classes and top sectors. So I control about 5 of the top sectors and options, okay? I have financials, UDAOs and industrial, QLD is tech, so Labu is healthcare. So I control about half of the S&P sectors through options, and then the other half I buy stocks on because they don't have good enough options premiums to sell. Like Altria, Mo, it's a defensive. Whirlpool, the reason why I don't sell options on that is because the share price is high, okay? Whirlpool share price 148. If I got a sign on that, I'd have to fork over $14,000 because you have to multiply this times 100. So I'd have to fork over about $15,000 upon assignment of Whirlpool, and that's too much risk to have in one stock. The stock could fall, you never know what could happen, and yet you're left holding the bag with $15,000 exposed. I prefer selling options on these smaller share prices. QYLD, 20 a share. So if I get a sign, it's only $2,000. Plus the maintenance is low on QYLD. If you need help understanding maintenance and equity, email me for my e-guides at aikentodd48@gmail.com. I have e-guides on margin, which explains how to use maintenance and grow your equity faster by buying low maintenance names. Not expense ratios, maintenance. I've talked about them many times in past videos if you want to go check out those videos. So QLD, low maintenance. IEP, low maintenance. So it's a $6,000 stock here, IEP. I'm controlling 6,000 of it, 60 times 100, 6,000, 60 times 100, 6,000. But the cost basis, if you minus it at 15, my premium there, 15, as you can see, 15.40, my cost basis is now around $45. So I'm lowering my cost basis, I'm adjusting my risk in a favorable way by selling this option on IEP, plus it's lowering my margin by $1,500. Theoretically, I could sell options all the way out until I have no more margin debt. But then if you sell too many options, you have to worry about the maintenance and the equity, and your equity would be gone. So be careful. It's not about having margin debt and wanting it to be gone, because so many people hate margin debt. They just are they love this idea of margin, but they don't want the debt. They want to pay it down quickly. That's where I was the first year I started in margin. Then when I found options, I started selling options and lowered my margin debt almost to zero. I had 200 grand in debt once, and I sold a bunch of options, if you can believe it. And I got my debt all the way down to zero. But guess what? I had like 15,000 of equity left. I had no equity left. And once this equity number gets to zero, you're in a margin call. So you don't have to be in margin to get margin called. You just have to have low amounts of equity to get margin called, okay? So if you're just selling options or using margin, you're not going to get called if you use a small amount, okay? So that's the theme. The name of the game here at this channel is to use a fraction of margin to get this extra income, which is I use about 200,000, which in less than 3 years, this will be paid off. This margin will be gone in less than 3 years because I earn over 100,000 per year in dividends, and then my account will grow to 700,000 and my debt will be at zero. It's better than credit cards. If you pay down a credit card bill and get it to zero, you don't grow your account. This is like real estate where you take out a loan, you put it back into the house, you grow your equity in your house. So I'm doing the same thing, but with stocks, because I feel like they are better than real estate. I think controlling debt in a brokerage account is better than than real estate. Plus, you're more liquid. I can withdraw out of this number anytime I want. I can travel the world, buy food, swipe my E-Trade card wherever I go. Even though I'm in debt, I can still do whatever I want. And sometimes when I want to take a trip, I just sell an option. I'll just go here and I'll find a stock that's cheap, that's falling, because that's when you want to sell options, when things fall. And then I'll just sell an option, lower some margin right there, and then I'm paying for my ticket to go someplace. So I use margin to travel the world. I use my debt to move freely through the world. So do the rich. How did Elon Musk buy Twitter? He bought it with margin. How does Warren Buffett move? So I use options to get this extra performance. Okay, I use Cornerstone, which, as you know, the market price is $8, and then the price paid, they drip my shares down at $6. So $8 price paid there. But down here, you see the price paid of $6.42, $6.27, $6.33, okay, $6.33, $6.27. Okay, that's a 27% gain, 26% gain. These are all monthly. They drip your dividends monthly at the NAV, 21% dividend. Cornerstone's a 4-star fund for a reason. Okay, if you want to know more about Cornerstone, either watch my past videos or email me for my e-guides at akintalk48@gmail.com. You have to learn how to play this fund properly. You have to sell before the rights offering occurs. You also have to ask for the special drip. You can't just toggle it yourself. So I get performance from Cornerstone. Yes, 400 grand in Cornerstone. I really believe in it. It's the indexes. I also get my performance from margin, and I tie the margin to the indexes like with Cornerstone. But then I'll go down here and sell the options on the index as well. UDAO is an index. FAS is a financial index. Riot, that's an asset class that you want. It's Bitcoin. So I'm controlling Riot with a much better cost basis. I'm not taking the risk in Bitcoin. It doesn't pay you a dividend to own Bitcoin, and it just takes up your margin. So I sell options on Bitcoin because they give you nice premiums. Mara, $12.80 at a $20 strike price. So that's over 50% return in your premiums. That's how the options funds that we're in, like Tesla, Clip, OARC, that's how they give you such high options premiums, because they sell options. And when you sell options on more volatile funds and stocks like Riot, you get high premiums. That's an over 50% premium. $5 for Riot here, $10 strike price, $5 is what I got paid. So that's about a 50% premium. Mara, $20 strike price, $12, so that's over 50% premium. If we go in and look at the share price for Mara, 20 minus 12, let's round 1280 to 13. So 20 minus 13, we get a $7 cost basis, correct? Around $7, okay? But look at the actual market price for Mara. The market price is almost 14. So we have to fall almost 7 points before we're at a break even in Bitcoin. So I'm controlling Bitcoin. I still made thousands of dollars in Bitcoin. I made 1,000 in Mara, 1,000 in Riot, and I've also closed some puts recently in Bitcoin to take gains. So, and I've had a lot more options premiums on than this. I sold them recently at the market highs to manage risk. That's why our performance stayed up when the market fell recently, because I closed a lot of these options. Another reason why these options are great is because you don't have to be right. You lower your cost basis, yes, and you get performance out of these names, yes, because as the market moves daily, these things move, so they give you extra performance on top of your day's gains. But you don't even have to be right. The stock could just move sideways forever, and you still get paid the options premiums. The stock could even fall some, and you're still above your cost basis in some cases, so you don't even have to be right. You're just selling time with options. So it's really a beautiful thing, okay? I use options with Cornerstone and with margin to really get extra performance, okay? I'm going to run through the five benefits of selling options one more time. You get a risk-adjusted way to enter the stock. You can control the stock without adding margin. You still get performance, but with less beta. Beta meaning volatility. You still get the day's gains, but since I put these out till 2025, they move slower than the stocks themselves. So when they fall, when the market falls, I fall less in these options, but I still get some days gains going forward in these options. As you can see, I'm up 434, 374 in some of these options. I'm not going to take this $400 gain, by the way, because I made 14 on the option. I still have $1,000 to go before I can get my full maximum upside in FAS. So I could sell that now, and that would release a lot of equity, by the way. I would only have to pay $1,000 in margin there, because FAS $1,000 is what we have here. So if I close this, my margin will grow by 1,000 again, but I'll net 400 in profit. So, but I want to hold it all the way out until I get most of this profit, because I'm not really in it for the profit. I'm in it for the performance. I want the exposure to financials. Every day you have to have a fully diversified approach if you want performance. You have to have index investments, or when you have these other sectors, you have to make sure that they're grouped within an index. So I have five sectors here: financials, industrials, UDAL's industrial, QLD is tech. I have healthcare, LABU, and energy with ET. And then the other 5 sectors of the S&P, because there are 10 sectors, the other 5 I can't sell options on because they don't have enough volatility, so I buy the stock. Whirlpool, I buy that stock because also the share price for Whirlpool is high, 150. If I get a sign, I have to fork over $15,000. And ET, if I get a sign, I only have to fork over $1,500. Plus, they gave me $400 for selling the put, so I really have to fork over only $1,100 of ET. An ET if I get a sign. And again, you want assignment because then it's just going to increase our income over 100,000. So if we get a sign in IEP, QYLD, if we get a sign, then this number here is just going to grow. Okay. Yes, our margin will grow, but as long as we're making more on our dividends than we're getting charged interest and margin, I don't mind. So yeah, I mean, an IEP's dividend is over 20%. So my margin interest is 5, but even if your margin interest is 10, then, and I negotiated my interest down, please don't ask. But even if you have a 10% margin rate, 20% dividend from IEP, if you're assigned, you're covering your margin interest. And your margin will pay itself down over time as the dividends pay it back. And even if the dividends lose as the stock goes down once you're assigned, you don't care if it goes down because the dividends cash flow the stock anyway. So it's really hard to lose at this channel because all we do are buy dividend funds. And then if we sell options, then we just let the time go by and we collect the options premiums. And if we actually get a sign, which is rare, then we actually just we earn more in income per year. And this is assignment that I want. You have to want the assignment, okay? I just don't want to own the stock right now. I don't want to own ET right now because there's headline risk and it's only paying me 9% dividend. I mean, that's great. You could do that, but I'd rather just sell the option, have a much better risk-adjusted cost position with ET rather than owning ET outright. Okay, I just think there's a much bigger advantage. I can get a bigger yield selling the option than I can earning off of the dividend. I described to you how I got 20% premiums off of this premium with ET, $15. You make $400. Again, that's over 20%, but the dividend's 9%. So I'm getting a bigger gain here by doing this. So and if I get assigned, it's at a lower cost basis, and I'm in the meantime, if I'm not getting assigned, I'm lowering my margin. So, I mean, there's just so many benefits I could list for options and why I like them. Just make sure you tie them to the indexes. Make sure that you watch the maintenance on them. You don't sell options on high maintenance names. Riot is a high maintenance name. It's 100% maintenance, so I only keep a small amount in it. Plus, I make sure the share price is small, 1,000, so that if I get a sign, I only have to fork over $1,000. But if you factor in the premium, 500, I really only have to fork over $500 because I received 500 in cash for selling that option. If any of this was confusing, email me at aikentop48@gmail.com and I'll try to answer your questions. I think I'm going to write another e-guide on selling options because I anticipate a lot of questions on this, and it's just going to be harder to write this e-guide because it's very complicated. It's not hard. It's just I could talk for a while, and there's a lot of nuanced scenarios here. So I'll write that e-guide. But if you're interested in my other e-guides, again, for playing Cornerstone or for living financially free out of your brokerage account using margin, then email me for my e-guides at aikentop48@gmail.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click like or subscribe if you did. I'm talking fast because I have a lot of information to get out there, okay? I don't want this video to be too long. I don't want you to not click the video just because it's a long video. So I hope I taught you some things on options here. Don't be daunted. Options are easy. You just simply click sell, okay? And if you're going to buy the stock anyway, why not sell the option? It's just going to give you a lower cost basis. It's going to lower your margin. You don't even have to be right. You can just let it go sideways. Just make sure that you tie them to the indexes, because that's how you get even more performance, is if you tie them to the indexes and important asset classes, and watch the maintenance on those things, okay? Don't just lower your margin to where your margin's at 0, but then you have no more available for withdrawal. You have no more equity left, because then you can't withdraw out of your account. If the market falls 10%, you'll be in a margin call, or even if you're not in margin, you just won't be able to, you won't get a margin call, but you won't be able to withdraw as you want and travel the world freely and live financially free. So you have to do a fraction of options. You have to use a fraction of margin purchasing power And then I dump the majority into Cornerstone, okay? The majority of all my money goes into the indexes like Cornerstone, but you have to learn how to play Cornerstone properly. Every year it has a rights offering, it drops on the rights offering, and you have to ask for the special drips. So, you know, make sure you play that fund right if you want to get into Cornerstone for the 21% dividend. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, guys. Email me if you have questions. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.